Welcome to a new episode of Ausfahrt.tv in English. My name is Jan Gleitzmann, but you can call me Mr. Z. And Mr. Z got transformed into a soccer mom the last 10 days because I was driving this big SAV. I'm not saying SUV, but SAV because it's a sport activity vehicle from BMW. We are driving the X5 xDrive40d, which is a diesel and very much liked in Germany. The history of the X5 is pretty amazing. It was introduced by BMW in 1999 already and has a long success story behind it. In 2006 they have presented a second product generation, and this baby right here was introduced in 2013. So it's a third product generation. You might have seen one of our X6 videos that we have just filmed in Spartanburg, South Carolina, USA, where all the X models except the X1 are produced. So let me open the hood and tell you something about the engine. So the BMW X5 xDrive40d has a 3-liter BMW twin-power turbo 6-cylinder all-in-a-row diesel engine and is good for 313 horses, and the whole thing does a maximum torque of 630 Newton meters. I don't know if you know, but xDrive for BMW stands for all-wheel drive for wheels. Let me get just some facts out of the way. Being a soccer mom and driving the kids to school every day now with this big SAV, I can tell you still that acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour / 0 to 62 miles per hour just takes 5.9 seconds. So I was a pretty fast soccer mom. The BMW X5 xDrive40d reaches its top speed at 236 kilometers per hour, which equals 147 miles per hour. It is about 5 meters long, exactly 4.89 meters, 1.76 meters tall, and from the mirror cap to mirror cap you have a height of 2.18 meters. Turning the whole vehicle, you need at least 12.7 meters of space. The tank swallows up to 85 liters of diesel, and BMW at least says that you have that you just need 6 liters of diesel to reach 100 kilometers, which equals 39 miles per gallon. Overall, the X5 weighs around 2.2 tons and you can load up to 715 kilograms of luggage in there. So what's new with the new X5? Well, it's a year old, so I'm not bothering you with all the details of the model change. Just for one thing, the front looks different. We have the headlights that go up to the grille now. We had a paint job here before, and the grille is much wider, and so are the stripes. They have more space in between, so the whole front looks more sportive and aggressive, of course. Besides that, we have the typical BMW SAV face with the triple eyes. We have 2 eyes right here and the third one right there. Besides that, everything was sharpened, of course, to make the car look a little bit more sportive, more aggressive, blah blah blah. On the side, the biggest change, at least for me, are is this air outlet right here. You can order different option packages where you have here some chrome application. It comes out a little bit more. By the way, the car stands on 18 18-inch alloy wheels, and the whole line is shaped in a little bit different way. Overall it's still an X5. And here is the X5 from the back. Still looks like an X5, a little bit shaped in a different way. We still have the back door that is split in two parts. The splitter is right here, and by now we have full LED rear lights that I personally like a lot with this L shape. And by the way, just if you turn the car in reverse, the light you get from the LED lights is brighter than some of the older lights from, you know, smaller cars. That's kind of funny. Yeah, but besides that, we have two exhaust pipes. Looks, you know, sportive, and that's pretty much it. Let's open this huge door and hop in. Well, it's not really hopping, you just step up a little bit, but still it's very comfortable to get in, and you can close the door pretty easy, and it's not heavy either. Okay, now I'm sitting in the X5, and first thing I recognize is I have lots of space. I have plenty of head space, so even if I would be taller, I'm 5'11", 180 centimeters tall, or I would scoot up the seat totally, I would still have a lot of space right here. And the whole dashboard gives, through its design, a very spacious feeling. So when I let my view wander to the right side where the passenger seat is, there's lots of space, very spacious, a very good feeling. Nothing is tight or narrow. We've just driven the X6, and it had such a nice interior, with beautiful two-colored or B-colored leather and wonderful Napa leather. This leather is not as nice, and we just have black seats, so I was just a little bit disappointed when I jumped in here. Overall, the front looks pretty much the same like in the X6. I do like in every BMW that the whole center part is facing me just a little bit. In the normal sedan or coupes, it's a little bit more, the angle is more towards me. In the X model, it's a little bit more centered, but still facing me, which is nice, so I can look at the screen easier, read the information easier, and have easy access to all the buttons right here. Talking about access and reaching usability, I like it that my right hand has a whole control panel here for the automatic transmission and the infotainment system, so everything is perfect in reach. I do like the leather coated steering wheel. It has a good grip, and I like all the buttons on the steering wheel, not too much, so it's easy to navigate even not looking on what you press. On the right side you have all the access to the infotainment system and the speech control. On the left side it's all about the cruise control. By the way, we don't have the adaptive cruise control in here, which saddens me a little bit, because being on the Autobahn for almost 2 days, I really miss the adaptive thing, because just holding the speed with all the traffic now on the streets is not what I'm expecting here. I pull out, you know, it's built in America, so supersize me seat belts. They're long enough to buckle up for every nature or every person. The seats in here, I have to complain a little bit, because I couldn't find my perfect sitting position. I've driven around 2,300 kilometers by now in this car, and still I don't know. I can't find a good position to sit. I know that the seats in the X6 were slightly different, and I liked them a lot. I was sitting there really perfect, yeah, really good. And the side support of these seats, they look like they have really good side support. Overall, I'm still slipping in the seats, in the curves, and I didn't appreciate this too much. Overall, the seats are heated. You can choose between three different, whatever, I don't know the word. However, you can, by the way, heat up the steering wheel as well, which is nice in wintertime, and it's getting colder right now, so I appreciate this function. And you can adjust the steering wheel electrically, which is good. For instance, you can really drive it out, but it takes a really long while, so I would really ask BMW, just speed this up, tune it a little bit, you know, tune this electric engine who does the steering wheel. We have two little gauges and two big ones. The big one is the speedometer on the left side and the RPM meter on the right side. We have up to 260 kilometers that we could reach with a speedometer, but we know the car is limited to 236. Overall, I like the design of the gauges, but I don't like how they show the information from the computer, like for instance my average mileage right now, or how much more gas is in the tank and so on, or how many kilometers are still left in the tank. However, I really like the BMW head-up display. I think it's the best system in the market, in Germany at least, comparing to Audi and Mercedes even. I like how they put the information very sharp, very bright. Even the instructions from the GPS, from the navigation system, come up in the head-up display really neatly. And I like how they change the color, white during the daytime and orange in the nighttime. That is really nice. Talking about orange, we have an ambient light in here that you can, you know, mix up 3 different colors, white, blue and orange. And we have this LED light right here in the doors, which goes on the dashboard as well. We have illuminated door panels and some lights where you put your feet, where you put your feet, and you can choose between orange, blue and white in between those different sections. I like the orange part very much. It gives the whole car, you know, everything is orange, a good look during nighttime. I appreciate it. Looking in the mirrors, you have a good view out of the mirrors or in the mirrors, or you see a lot in the mirrors, in the both mirrors, and in the inner mirror you see enough, at least you see the whole back mirror. And what I kind of dislike is, since the car is so high, the back mirror ends very high too. So if you have like a sports car standing right next behind you, for instance in a parking space, someone parked his sport car right behind you, you hardly see it because the window is so high. At least you have a rear camera, so once you put the car in rear, you should see the sport car parking behind you. And you have, of course, all the beepers and a little drawing here that shows you where you're getting close to something. So you shouldn't hit anything while parking or getting out of the parking space. And turning my head to the left side, this thing is a little bit in my way, and turning the other way around, I see a lot. I see more than I would have expected from the outside. And even in the back there, you can see enough so you don't hit anyone or, you know, get into an accident. What else is missing? Let me show the compartments real quick. In the door panels we have enough space for a liter bottle, most probably for a 1.5 liter bottle, and still there's another compartment where you can store another bottle or at least a bunch of stuff. In the center here we have 2 cup holders, and they have this little bits in there, this little bits that prevents the bottle from shaking around. Those bottles are both 1/2 liter and they fit in here very well, while my liter bottle goes in here as well and is not really shaking around. In front of this where the ashtray used to be is a little compartment with some surface so things don't slip around, and you have a 12-volt outlet. You can close this thing so make it just look a little bit nicer. We have here a little storage compartment just big enough for the key to fit in, and the armrests. There are two wings that you can flip up. There's another surface from preventing stuff scooting around. We have a holder for an iPhone or a smartphone here in right now. I wouldn't order this to have the full space for all my stuff. And we have the possibility to plug in some USB device, and we have an aux in here as well. The gloves compartment is not too big, but big enough to put some stuff in there. You have even a holder for a pen, and you can lock up the gloves compartment with a key. So if you want to store something, have some extra protection, you put it in there and lock it. In the sunshades we have a ticket holder and makeup mirrors on both sides. They're illuminated, of course. We have reading lights for the driver and the passenger seat, and a big light for easy entry or if you look something, if you're looking for something. And on all four doors we have grips holders. So some people always laugh at me when I say, well, it's important for me. Well, I think it is important, because if you have something with your bag, you can really use them to help you climb into the car. And overall, if I'm in the passenger seat, whoever's driving, I'm not really anxious or anything, but I still like to just hang my hand in here to have it somewhere loose and relaxed. So I appreciate grips right there. Being a real soccer mom now, I want to show you the space in the back as well. The door opens pretty wide. You step up a little bit just like in the front, and you feel very comfortable sitting here. Being a real soccer mom by now, I'm really concerned about my kids and how they feel in the back, so I'm presenting this to you. First of all, I have plenty, and I'm saying plenty of space. You see, I have enough head space in the back as well. I'm 5'11", so 180 centimeters tall. I have lots of leg room. The seat is in my position. That's how I sit in the car and drive comfortable. Well, at least somehow. And even if I scoot in here and I pretend like I had longer legs, there's enough space. There's nothing to complain at all. Let me see. In the door panels we have another compartment for a bottle, at least for a liter bottle. Behind that we have a little compartment. There's some empty bottle in here, and you should be able to store some stuff in here. In the back of the front seats you have this newspaper, magazine, whatever it is, good for thing. I don't like songs. And in the center part we have two compartments. One is really deep and you can lose some stuff in there. The other one I just placed my iPhone. Both have surfaces that things don't scoot around, which is pretty neat. And below that you have two 12-volt outlets, and if you have kids like I do, soccer mom, you know how important 12-volt outlets for the kids nowadays are. How can I charge my iPhone? How can I charge my Nintendo? And so on. Talking about kids and their safety, we have ISOFIX holders right here, so you can easily fix your child seat. And the locks of the seat belts, they are really tight in here, so smaller kids should be able to buckle up themselves with ease. And just a test. Oh yeah, the seat belts are long enough to buckle up not only kids or big people, but as well child seats or those baby things. In the middle we have an armrest, and in the armrest included are two cup holders. the 1 liter bottle doesn't fit in here, but the little one does, and you have those rubber things right there, so the bottles don't scoot around. Last but not least, I like when my kids can read, so we have reading lights on both sides, and I like how they are put on the side, because when I'm driving at night time and I look in the back mirror, I kind of dislike if something is bright in here and it kind of, you know, blends me. Yeah, that is pretty much it from the back, and me being a concerned soccer mom, I'm satisfied. The trunk of the X5 is pretty big. It can swallow up to 650 liters of luggage. And it goes up here if you want to lift something in a whole meter, unless you open the second part as well. I don't know how much weight you can put in here, but now you can slide in the luggage or the goods right away and you don't have to drop them anyhow. I just measured the whole trunk. So if you don't flip the back seats, it's 1 meter deep, and at the smallest part it's 1 meter and 10 centimeters wide. And if you use the separator here, those are about 40 centimeters. And we have a little trap door in here with a lifter that comes out up automatically, and here you see a lot of space for some other bags or some other goods that you don't need all the time. Besides that, the emergency kit is placed on the left side. On the right side we have a 12-volt outlet. Here's another compartment, a tiny one, maybe for gloves, and the whole trunk is illuminated by 2 lights in the door. One thing, I'm 5'11", so 180 centimeters tall. I don't consider myself a small person, but with the X5 I feel kind of small, because once something rolled in the trunk to the very end, I can't reach it this way. Well, I have to close the door maybe, but even this is really painful and hard. So either you kind of crawl a little bit inside the trunk, or you have to have someone a little bit taller to give you a hand. And just removing the line system here, it's already painful for me. The whole back row is separated into 3 parts. One is down already. Here goes the second one, so it's 40, 20, and the last one 40. I just measured from the very edge here until the top of the backrest of the back row. You have 163 centimeters, and if you pull forward the passenger seat on the right side, you can store goods longer than 2 meters. Altogether, if you flip everything, you can put up luggage up to 1,870 liters in here. Alright, that's about it. Finally, you can load up to 715 kilograms inside the X5, of which 100 kilograms may be placed on the roof given certain good equipment. And if you put a hook on your X5, you can tow trailers with up to 3.5 tons of weight if they have a braking system. Otherwise they are only allowed to weigh up to 750 kilograms. I would take this baby now for a ride, put the camera in front of me and tell you something about my varied driving experience, not only as a soccer mom. Well, let's start with fuel consumption first. BMW claims that you get a mileage of 39 miles per gallon, equals 6 liters of diesel on 100 kilometers. I've driven this car now about 2,300 kilometers, and my fuel consumption says 9 liters on 100 kilometers, which equals 27 miles per gallon. So I do understand that this huge and 2.2 ton heavy car needs some fuel. On the other hand, I was driving really slow, around like 130 kilometers on long Autobahn trips. So I think if I'm not getting closer to this original mileage by BMW, driving this careful, there's something wrong. So you rather calculate 9 liters or 27 miles per gallon. What I think is really fascinating is the sound of the car, because there is hardly no sound. We're driving a diesel engine, a 3-liter diesel engine, and it's really quiet. In city traffic, you hear it's the loudest way to hear the engine. Once you drive faster on country roads or the Autobahn, it's staying very quiet, and it's really easy to take long rides with this car. You stay really relaxed. You don't have any problems with too much noise. You get wind noise starting around 140 kilometers per hour. That's getting kind of loud, but not too disturbing. You can still talk to your passenger in a normal way. You don't have to raise your voice. And what's kind of neat, it's not getting louder the faster you go. So between 140 and 200 kilometers per hour, the wind noise stays pretty much the same. So that's okay, I guess. We have an 8-gear automatic transmission called Steptronic in here, and it works with charm, very easy. I have pedals to shift. I haven't used one time, well, just for the video shot. And because the Steptronic is just working with charm, you don't need it, you really don't need it. Depending on the driving mode, and you have 3 driving modes, actually 4. So you have Eco Pro for efficient driving, Comfort for the normal ride, and Sport if you you want to go a little bit faster or quicker at least. So depending on the modes, the automatic transmission shifts slower or faster. And the only thing I think is not very well done, the switch to choose the driving modes is a little switch and not a turning wheel. So once you want to go from Eco Pro to Sport, you have to at least tap 2 times. And I rather have it from the usability to turn it to find the right mode quicker. Because once you're on the Autobahn, for instance, you're driving an Eco Pro to save some fuel, and you see ahead something that you think, okay, I want to speed now, then you push the throttle and nothing really happens because you're an Eco Pro and this car wants to take it easy, and so you push the button twice to go in Sport and then push the throttle again, and then it goes. And this time you're losing in between. Is a little bit too long for my taste, but it's still very okay. The brakes are working with charm too. I had to do an emergency brake at one point. I was encountered slow traffic and I didn't really pay 100% attention to the street. My bad, my fault. But the car slowed down the car immediately. They brought it to a stand. The emergency flashlights were going on to show the traffic behind me that I was like braking really hard. And so the 2.2 ton car was slowed down immediately, and that gave me a really secure feeling, and I think the brakes are really working well. The steering is electromechanical, so once you drive faster it gets more direct, and once you're in the city with slow speed it's very easy to steer, and you need this. Talking about traffic, driving the car in traffic, me being a soccer mom, all the tiny streets I'm going through, it is harder to find a parking spot than in a smaller car, of course, obviously. but the steering eases you to put this beast into a tiny parking spot, because it's very easy to steer, and with the little aids, the parking sensors and the rear camera, it's not too hard to get in this parking spot. Anyhow, I would recommend anyone thinking about buying this car to order a 360-degree camera. I've used this camera in the X6 the other day, and that's giving you even more secure feeling. It's even more easy to put your car into tiny spots. Overall, this car works in city traffic very well, at least here in Germany, because it's so huge and everyone is like, ooh, big car, tank is coming, I better slow down, I better let him pass. So that's eases you and your sitting position. You sit in an SUV, or how BMW claims an SAV. You see a lot and everything is cool. The suspension is really comfortable once you drive in EcoPro or in Comfort, and it's getting a little bit stiffer once you put the car in Sport or Sport Plus. I think that's just perfect. It's a perfect cruiser, long ride, long distance drive. It enables you to drive really easy and cool. And if you want to go faster, you put it in Sport or Sport Plus, and the suspension is stiffer, and you get even a sporty-alike feeling, I would say. You're still driving a tank of 2.2 tons, but it gives you the feeling that you can drive a little bit more dynamic. That's cool. One thing I would like to point out about the Fahrerlebnisschalter, the switch where you choose the driving modes, what I kind of dislike is that you have the button for disabling the ESP is right there. So when you're driving blind, or you're trying to use the switch blind, and I've been on it with this car 2,300 kilometers, I'm used to it now. I still slip on this button, so instead of choosing another driving mode, maybe from EcoPro to Comfort, I disable the ESP, and I really don't like this. That's, you know, they should put it somewhere else. Well, driving pleasure. It's a tank, it's an SUV, I'm a soccer mom. So am I supposed to have driving fun? I told you, in the city it's kind of fun because everyone is getting out of your way. On the country roads, I rather see the X5, sorry, as a cruiser. Once you put it in Sport or Sport Plus, you can drive, well, sporty alike, but not more. And on the Autobahn, around 180 kilometers per hour, it starts to stress me a little bit, because you have this big car, you have winds, side winds, you have pavement that is not really, you know, the best, and then the car starts to act, well, not like a diva, but still it's kind of stressful to drive once you go faster than 180, at least for me, and you know, I'm an old guy and all that, la la la. Few words to the assist systems in this car. We hardly have any. We don't even have a blind spot warner, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm driving a premium car, I'm driving a BMW, and it doesn't have a blind spot warner. Wow. We have a traffic sign recognition which works with charm, at least if you have signs on both sides, or at least at the side you're driving at. I have one point here in Bielefeld where I always drive on the right side, where the traffic sign is on the left side. You know, there's a second lane, and that's where the system doesn't recognize this sign. But if you know this, it's okay. You have to keep your eyes on the street anyway and look for signs. You shouldn't, you know, fully trust the system. We have a cruise control which is not adaptive, and same here, I'm driving a premium car, so why in the world is this not an adaptive cruise control? Having heavy traffic by now on the Autobahn wherever you go, unless you go at midnight. A pure cruise control doesn't help me, it's not supporting me, because I have to brake and still look everything. If I have an adaptive cruise control which keeps the distance to the car ahead of me, whoops, I am yeah, it doesn't help me as much as I want, and I would really appreciate an adaptive cruise control by default. I do like the infotainment system. I am a Mercedes guy for sure. I'm really familiar with the Mercedes Command online system, and but I've driven a lot BMWs in the past, so I'm getting used to this system and I'm starting to like it even. And I especially like the screen. And yeah, I've told you before, I love the head-up display. It's just awesome. You have two different colors. At night it's orange, during daytime it's white. It gives you all the instruction right away. It shows you the traffic signs. It's really cool. Very much liked. Well, the review's over. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm enjoying myself now in the fine autumn sun, and while I'm sitting here, feel free and invited to put any questions you have about the X5 down below in the comments field. And please give me a thumbs up if you liked this clip, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe, because we do a lot of car reviews, most likely in German, but still every once in a while even in English. Broken English, strong accent English. Mr. C says goodbye, hope to see you soon in our next clip. So all this torque goes all to the torque goes to all. The top speed is limited to 233. The top speed is limited to 236 km/h. Warte mal, mach mal einen Cut bitte.